Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the TIE Shuttle. So, the TIE Shuttle was a short range shuttle manufactured by Senior Fleet Systems. The personnel priority model was one of the more successful variants of the basic TIE SA bomber, affording room for up to four individuals as well as additional cargo. Although the TIE was sluggish and not designed for combat, it was equipped with one laser cannon, has a shield generator, and was typically used by the Galactic Empire to quickly ferry officers between starships and other installations. The TIE shuttle was an unpopular mode of transportation among users, as they preferred the luxury of the larger Lambda class shuttle. During the Galactic Civil War, Sith Lord Vader flew the TIE shuttle to the planet Jerome in pursuit of the rebel Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa. Uh, but a pair of but the pair evaded Vader and fled using his shuttle. The Imperial Navy made extensive use of the TIE shuttle in the subsequent Hoth campaign of 3 ABY, employing the shuttle as a substitute for the standard comm traffic between Vader's squadron of Star Destroyers, which would have interfered with the mission's vital sensor scans and probe droid transmissions in the Hoth asteroid field. Captain Lorith Nita of the Star Destroyer Avenger made his final space voyage aboard a TIE shuttle before his execution at Vader's hands for failing to capture the rebel starship Millennium Falcon. Several years followed the Empire's defeat at the Battle of Endor. Imperial leaders such as Moff Kentor Sarin and Supreme Warlord Blitzer Harsk rode the TIE shuttle to their personal transports. Long after, in 44 ABY, the world Nam Chorus Mayor while Snapulence had repurposed his TIE shuttle as a personal campaign vehicle, appropriately named Vote Snapulence, Jedi Luke and Ben Skywalker, and their Sith ally Vestra Kali borrowed the shuttle in their hunt for the dark side entity Abeloth. And despite the craft's age and limited maneuverability, they took advantage of the equipment in its dual pods to survive an attack by Abeloth's ship. While the TIE shuttle was heavily damaged, the group converted it into a wind-propelled land speeder to resume their travels. Now, I do remember that part of it, but I guess it kind of escapes my mind as far as them borrowing a TIE shuttle itself. But in any regards, I do remember that storyline. That was that's one of the last big kind of series that had been done in, I don't know if you want to call it Legacy or Legends series or whatever, of the expanded universe before Disney had purchased uh, Star Wars from Lucas and had turned it into what it is today. So, characteristics: uh, the Senior Fleet Systems manufactured the TIE Shuttle VIP Shuttle, otherwise known as the TIE Shuttle, as a variant model of the basic TIE bomber. Similar to the TIE bomber or TIE BR boarding shuttle, the TIE SH adopted the TIE bomber's hull configuration but replaced the bomber portside ordnance launcher and the bomb delivery system with a small, well appointed passenger pod. The pod could hold up to four individuals. The additional cargo, containing two rows of front facing seats that had space for two humans and were equipped with straps. Each TIE shuttle wing had an array of three solar panels, and the craft had or the craft either had its wings bent inward, similar to the TIE bomber, or bent outward. A pilot controlled the craft and simultaneously served as the gunner, using starfighter style controls from the starboard command pod. TIE shuttle measured 7.8 meters in length, and while not designed for combat, protected its passengers with a single lower powered laser cannon. The relevant support systems that could be set to auto-fire mode and that had an atmospheric firing range of 2.5 kilometers, though the shuttle required a starfighter escort if danger was nearby. Designed for short-range space travel, sluggish and difficult to maneuver, the TIE shuttle generally lacked a hyperdrive and other advances, but nonetheless mounted a defensive shield generator and was equipped with sensors. All right, so cockpit was illuminated by lights and had a control board that included a main monitor screen which provided diagnostic warnings via flashing yellow and red alerts, and a sensor screen, although sensor although or another sensor board, was located at the passenger pod from which the sensors could be recalibrated and read to assist the pilots flying. Communication between the pods were facilitated by an internal intercom, while a comm system automatically connected the TIE fighters or TIE pilot's helmet voice activated microphone, and manually accessible by both pods could be used for external contact. The shuttle boasted a cargo capacity of up to 1 metric ton and 2 days worth of consumables. Uh, in my mind, the actual cargo would probably be behind the pilot, but looking at the little schematic that they have here, that might differ from the reality here. All right, customary of the TIE series, the TIE shuttle supported twin ion engines, which were capable of achieving a maximum atmospheric speed, if I can only speak this morning, of 650 kilometers an hour, as well as a repulsor lift for takeoff and landing. Both the TIE shuttle and the TIE BR were equipped with landing gear, which for a time made them the only TIE series craft not dependent upon the docking racks found aboard larger Imperial starships and bases. Now, that is not correct. If you actually go back to, and it's very, very quick, if you watch the original Star Wars movie, which is now A New Hope, Episode 4, Han runs through the corridor and he meets all of the stormtroopers that are all kind of lined up there. In the background, and I know it took me a number of times before I actually visually saw it because I was looking for it. Because of all the commotion that's going on in the foreground, in the background, you do see TIE fighters sitting on their wings on the ground. All the TIEs are meant to be able to sit on the ground on their wings. That is part of their support structure. Now, the fact that they can actually be in racks and stacked up makes it very advantageous, so that way you can store them along the ceiling or whatever else, so you allow the hangar bay to be able to be used for other things or maneuvering other vehicles or whatever else. Also, to add on to that, if you look at the bottom of the TIE pod, there is a rack system on there that actually pulls out, and that is the engine itself. So I know I'm going into a little bit more, and I think we'll catch up here. So you can actually pull that out and work on that, and you can throw a different engine pod in there, and then your TIE fighter is now ready to go again. So it is done in a very nice and convenient way to be able to work on this stuff. These are things that were brought up later on in some of the toy series, as well as some of the other fiction that was brought up later. Um, and it really starts to make sense because that way you keep the fighters at a good military readiness at pretty much all times. You can always just slide that rack out, work on the engine. If you need to, you can slide a different engine in there while you're working on that one, and there you go. So even though everything is all nice and compact in there, it allows maintenance to actually actively work on things and get things fixed in a timely manner. Okay, so trying to figure out exactly where we left off here. Um, Now I lost where I was. Um, so we'll just kind of pick up here. The cockpit was illuminated with lights. No, I think we hit all that one. Um, let's see, landing gear. Um, a boarding ramp extended from the underside of the tie, or both tie shuttle's cockpit and passenger pod, but each of the pods also had its own top hatch, available only to the Imperial military. The tie shuttle was not available for public sale. The craft marketed at 120,000 credits new and 45,000 credits used. The shuttle also had an emergency tools that included an arc welder. For the role, the Galactic Empire utilized the TIE shuttle as a specialized priority shuttle for quick transporting command level officers, troops, and other priority cargo between naval ships, such as Imperial Star Destroyers, as well as space stations and ground installations. Effective but utilitarian. The TIE shuttle was an unpopular mode of transportation for those who used the craft, as they were converted, uh, as they coveted the more luxurious Lambda class T T4A shuttle. Indeed, while flag officers typically used the larger Lambda shuttles, lower ranking officers usually rode aboard the TIE shuttle. Each Imperial ship in a line carried TIE fighters, typically also carried at least one TIE shuttle. Um, I'm not going to go into the history here, but let's just kind of break this down. So, we typically need shuttles to go from point A to point B. Um, and the way I've always taken this, and I'm not going to get into the history and so on and so forth, is sometimes we need just a basic shuttle. Now, the TIE bomber having the second pod there, being able to carry all the bombs and ordnance that it needs, being stripped down and just having enough room for a couple personnel, whether it's officers, whether it's other troops of some sort, being stormtroopers or other just standard troopers. Maybe different. Maybe you're being assigned to a different ship or something else. Typically, they'd throw you into a TIE shuttle and then ferry you over to wherever you needed to go. That type of shuttle. Now, bringing it into like other franchises, like because we always see in like Star Trek, they're taking a shuttle. This fits that same purpose. You need to maneuver people back and forth to a planet or whatever else. This just does a very basic version of that. And the fact that it does have 1 ton of cargo space available. Now, like I said, behind the pilot, because it is elongated, that should give you about 1 ton's worth of cargo space. And we still have the engine compartment below, which allows us to be able to keep everything else functioning. So that is my take on it. We're going to get into our write up here. Okay, so looking at the stats that we do have for our D6 Star Wars. So this is, of course, Senior Fleet Systems TIE Shuttle. It is a Imperial aligned vessel. Comes from the Rebellion era. Now, it is Starfighter scale, length of 7.8 meters long, as we kind of read. Has a crew of one. Let's see, has passenger compartment for two, according to the book. It also has one metric ton worth of cargo capacity, has consumables for 2 days. Let's see, has a maneuverability of 2, a space of 8. Now, this has a slightly faster maneuverability or a space speed than what was listed in the Wikipedia. And I believe that this has always been the standard from the books itself. So it does have a speed of 1,050 kilometers an hour, has a hull of 2D. But now you also notice that this does not have a shield system that was mentioned in Wikipedia. So there is a slight difference here. Sensors, uh, passively, we can scan out to 2 kilometers at a 0 bonus. Active scan out to 4 kilometers with a 1D bonus. An active search for 6 kilometers with a 2D bonus. And a focus out to 300 meters at a 3D bonus. And in weapons, we only have a single laser cannon. And as it was noted, it's an underpowered cannon, as that has a fire control of 2D. Damage is only a 2D plus 2. So, it's not a combat vessel, but it does have something to help kind of trying to deter people from trying to attack the shuttle itself. Could it be pressed into combat? Yeah, probably. Is that likely? Not likely. um, but it is one of those things. We do see this um, in the movie just briefly, but it's one of those ships that's going to be used, I think, quite often. To transfer stuff. Now, one of the bigger things that we always have to remember is when Star Wars was made, we didn't have internet and networks like that. So those weren't thoughts that we had to kind of draw from. So ships are kind of systems unto their own. Communications can always be picked up by radio, people that know how to um, decipher radio traffic and all that. So how do you transfer communications without people picking stuff up? Quite often it is by using shuttles. Today we'll use helicopters or whatever. We can do that stuff today. Um, we do have encoded communication lines and the like, but the problem is every time that we encode communications, there's always that chance that somebody else knows how to uncode it, and it is now out in the public, or our adversaries can figure out what our plans are. So keeping it in that vein, just using a shuttle to transport information back and forth always does make sense. So uh, it just is what it is. So with that, I do want to thank you for stopping by. It's always wonderful having you come and visit, trying to shed light on ships that we don't typically see, although I think the shuttle is a little bit more of a popular shuttle than or ship than some of the other ones I hit, but not as popular as the ones I occasionally hit. I try to hit some of the more off the wall ones, but every so often it is kind of nice to hit some of the more well known ones. So, hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.